Welcome to episode 111 of the Epilogue Lady podcast. My name is Bente and I'm coming to you from Vesterålen, northern Norway, where I live with my husband, my oldest son and 3 cats. You can find me on Instagram as Arctic Crafts, on Facebook as Arctic Crafts by Bente, and on Ravelry as Arctic Crafts 65. There is also a group on Ravelry where you can participate in make-alongs and the occasional giveaway. We have a make-along running at the moment, the Grinch Mal. We'll talk a bit more about that afterwards at the start of the podcast because I have prizes to announce. There's also a Ko-fi page and you can choose between doing a one-off donation or you can become a member and donate monthly. And you heard it here first. Next year I'll start doing prize drawings for my members on Ko-fi. I only have one member at the moment. You know who you are. I'm extremely thankful to you. And if nobody else enters or joins, we know who the prize goes to. So that's the admin at the start. We'll talk a bit about the Grinch Bell because of the prizes I have to announce. I don't want to talk about weather because it's been awful. We had snow, then we had sort of a blizzard, not a blizzard, that sounds dramatic, but we had lots of wind. And then it turned into rain, so now it's awful. Grinch map. I've talked about it before, but we can run through the rules quickly. It runs until December 31st. The prizes will be drawn at the beginning of January. And the rules are really simple. It has to be a selfish project for you, or it has to be green. You can of course knit a selfish project that is green. That doesn't mean you get a double entry, by the way. But if you insist on knitting a Christmas gift, it has to be green. At least 50% of the project has to be green. And that's the rules, basically. And I've dyed up a couple of prizes for it, and those I'm going to show you those now. The main prize, or the grand prize, if you will, are these 4 skeins. We have 2 skeins of 100% merino DK. And 2 skeins of Surisilk Cloud, and I've just called this color Christmas Red. That's the main prize for the Grinch Mal. And the second prize for the Grinch Mal is these 2 skeins of something I have called a Hipster Christmas, because you can see it's sort of a mint green and a rusty red, so it's not exactly Christmas colors. So I've called it a Hipster Christmas, and you can of course use these for the tea time mal, because you have enough yarn here. You have 800 meters of those 2 skeins. We also have a bag prize coming from Sue, Crafty Knitter 7, and there is a pattern prize for Instagram. And we also have one more prize coming in the mail from Ulveig, my fiber dealer. I asked her if she would donate a prize for the podcast, and she said of course I want to do that. So there will be, I don't know what it is yet, because I told her you decide. And not all of you spin, I'm aware, so I didn't want to put up the fiber as a prize on its own. So if the person winning, let's see, the main prize, I suppose you don't want to exchange that for 100 grams of spinning fiber. But the second prize, the person winning the 2 skeins of Hipster Christmas, if you rather would like some spinning fiber, if you feel like you have enough yarn in your stash and you would love some spinning fiber, let me know. The same goes for the winner of the bag. If you rather want some spinning fiber, let me know. And if nobody wants the spinning fiber this time around, it will be put up as a price again for the tea time mal. I was considering putting up the fiber as a price on its own and change it out for skein from stash if the person winning the fiber didn't want the fiber. But I feel like I have enough prices for the Grinch mal, because from experience there won't be a lot of entries, and 4 prices is a bit much. Of course, if I'm proven wrong and lots of people enter the mal, I might put up a 4th prize. But that's it. And of course, if you win the grand prize, the 4 skeins of Christmas red, if you rather want the fiber, let me know. And when it comes to the other 2, if you want the fiber, please get back to me quickly, because I only have the 1 braid of fiber, or it could be a bat, I don't know, because I haven't got it yet. The first person telling me they want the fiber gets the fiber, because I only have the 1 fiber braid or bat, pardon me. So that's the Grinch mal, and I feel really accomplished because I not only dyed up the prices, but I shown you the prices, so I feel really accomplished. Speaking of Ulveig, I've fallen into the spinning rabbit hole, so I'm going to talk more about spinning after I finish talking about knitting. But I was on her website, and then I realized she actually does advent calendars. Fiber advent calendars, of course. And there was a lot of options. You can choose a variety pack where you get all sorts of fibers and colors, and some have sparkles, some have silk. But I don't feel accomplished enough as a spinner to do something like that. Besides, I want to be able to use it for something afterwards. So I went with the color coordinated option. It's all Polworth, so it's all the same fiber, and you can choose what color family you want it. So I chose Polworth and purples. So that's actually an advent, and because I bought it in Norway, it of course wasn't cheap, but it wasn't really expensive either. So that was sort of my Christmas present to myself. And I'm of course going to open that during Blogmas, so you get to see it. My son has gotten a job, so he isn't at home every day. He's not at home now, but I decided it works recording in the bedroom, so even though it's more work setting up, and of course packing everything back afterwards, it works sitting here. And this might be where I sit during Blogmas as well. I won't do all this work beforehand during Blogmas, of course, because that will only be small chats. But the days I have the house to myself, it will be more of a traditional Blogmas. But the days my son is home, there will only be this chat on the sofa in the morning where I open the advents, and then maybe some recording during the day, but no more chatting in the camera. And I have to be careful where I point the camera, because my son doesn't want to be on camera. I understand him, even though his mother is on YouTube, he doesn't want to be on YouTube. He writes music for me, so he's when I have original music on the podcast, it's him. So that's about Vlogmas, and then we perhaps should talk about knitting, because this is a knitting podcast, but I don't think it will be long until I can call this a knitting and spinning podcast, because I don't want to knit, I want to spin. You could see in the beginning of this podcast, I put up a little movie. That sounds amazing. A short little clip. And if it's not there, it's because I decided I couldn't use it, because I used this camera and it was sort of low light. So if I decide I can't use it, You won't see it in the beginning of this podcast. Sorry. But I recorded myself spinning. And I'm probably doing it all wrong. You don't have to tell me if I'm doing it all wrong, because I really enjoy myself. I have to figure out a different sitting position, because when I sit... Last night I was almost 1.5 hours sitting spinning, and my back was sore afterwards. So I have to figure out a different sitting position, and that's the only thing. And if I'm doing the spinning itself wrong for some reason, you don't have to tell me, because I'm really satisfied with the results I'm getting now. I'm going to show you later. So that's the spinning for now, and let's talk about knitting. I actually have an FO, even though I've been spinning a lot. I finished this last night, so all the ends are here and it's not blocked. But I finished my Floral Party top by AbbyeKnits. And I tried it on and I was really disappointed, because it's beautiful, but it's itchy. Not sure why, because normally alpaca is no problem for me. But this alpaca yarn is actually a bit scratchy. And that's disappointing. I could of course wear a t-shirt underneath, and that takes care of that. But I really want to wear this because I think it's beautiful. And the yarn is Steingass alpaca. Not sure about the blend, because I of course didn't bring the yarn label. But it's an alpaca blend, it's not 100% alpaca. And the stripes are a set of one ball of each color that my husband bought me, and then I bought the grey. So I bought enough grey for a sweater. If I added the grey to the other yarn, I had enough for a sweater, and then I decided on the Floral Party top, so I could get a striped body and grey sleeves. This sweater is intarsia at the top, so to be able to have 2 colors at the beginning. And I have several, not several, but I have enough yarn left for one more project, and I think I was thinking about doing a cowl, but because this yarn is itchy, I can't see the point of doing a cowl because I won't use it. So I have to think of something else to do with the rest of the yarn. I can't return it to the yarn store because it's a discontinued color. So I can't exchange it for something else. So I have to use it for something. I might add it to a price and put it in the price bin. Somebody else might want the yarn and have use for it. I have 1 ball left in a beautiful blue, and I think it's 2 or 3 balls of grey left. I might actually put it in the price bin and use it for a price at some point. But that's my only FO. The rest are whips. One of the whips I'm showing you, you haven't seen for a while, and I haven't knit on it, but I'm going to show you today because I plan on knitting on it. And where did I put it? Again, I'm very professional. It was out in the hallway. I didn't bring it into the bedroom. I haven't touched this in a while. Now that I finished the sweater, I think I'm going to knit on this again because I want to finish it. And it's the Lightwood Cowl by Jennifer Steingass. I seem to remember that hers is knit with spin cycle. This yarn is just as beautiful, but it's not spin cycle. It's River Knits Chimera. And I have the same amount of yarn that the pattern says is necessary, but I'm afraid I won't have enough. My main color is, by the way, is Raina. Maybe I should hold it the right side up. Raina, and it says, that translates to to 2-ply gammelserie, old-fashioned. And I'm afraid it, but as I'm thinking, as long as I get it, because you're supposed to knit it that way and graft it together, as long as I get it once around my neck, it's big enough. So I'm going to finish that now, because a cowl is nice. It's nice having a cowl. And I have one more project that you haven't seen before, and it's knit with this yarn. I bought this as a sweater quantity. I started Look Squirrel cardigan by Casa Pinka, and I didn't knit on it because I realized it wasn't my style. So I started this shawl. It's called the No Name Shawl, and I didn't make a note of the designer, but it's on the screen. I always put this on the screen. And this is another project I might not finish, because I of course have other things I want to do, and I have loads of spinning, and I want to cast on a pair of Christmas socks. So worst case scenario, that gets frogged, and I won't use the yarn for that either. And probably it will be postponed until January, because I want to knit Christmas socks and I have a spinning project. And I have the socks. I finished the sock I showed you last time that I had started the toe, and I went to a knit group, and socks are a perfect project for those, so I got this much done. It was in the local library, so I brought home a knitting book as well. I haven't got it because I returned it yesterday. I wasn't able to go to the knit group yesterday. I didn't feel like it. I had one of those days where you don't want to see people, so I dropped by to deliver the book, to return the book. But I'm hoping to be able to go next Thursday. Or coming Thursday, of course. So that's what I have for knitting, because I've been spinning, and I have spinning to show you. First we'll see, I bought myself an Ashford Lacy Kate, the one without the break bands. It's in the living room. I'll show you my Lacy Kate next time, but I'll put up a picture of the one I bought. So I decided to try plying yarn, because I realized with me spinning as much as I did and wanting to maybe spin a sweater quantity, I needed to be able to ply yarn. So I bought a Lacy Kate, and this is the result of my first project, plying yarn. I'm actually quite satisfied with this. I think it's pretty. And it's plied two. One of the singles is 100% sheep's wool from Ulve, and the other is gold yellow that I dyed myself on Corriedale from Wool Tops. And I filled one bobbin. I had to start another bobbin, and this is what the result was of the second one. I forgot about the labels. Again, very professional. So this is Corriedale Norwegian sheep's wool, and it's 11 wraps per inch. And this is 140 meters, and this is 45 meters. There's more on this as well that I didn't measure, of course, because I don't want to. This is chain ply. Sorry about that. A cat just entered the room. This is a chain ply, because I had more of the yellow left after I ran out of the other one, and I just chain plied the rest of the yellow. It's not enough to use for anything, I think, but at least I plied everything. and that was a cat. My cats aren't professional either. It's a saying, don't work with children or animals. Hopefully he settles in our bed, because the bed is my work table when I record. And he sat down in the box where the ring light normally is. Of course, it's a box. He's a cat. He of course settles down in the box. Back to spinning. And I felt like the plying went okay. I think 11 wraps per inch is about a worsted. Is it an Aran? Not sure. I think I'm going to use this for a hat anyway. But I realized if I'm going to end up with a fingering weight 2-ply, I have to spin really, really thin singles. And I think I accomplished that. If I end up with a fingering weight when I make a 2-ply out of this, I'm not sure. But probably a sport. Now this is 200 grams of fiber, by the way. I also have 200 grams. Everything is falling down. Also have 200 grams of this. And this is semi-solid. So I'm going to ply these two. This was variegated. And I love the way a variegated fiber looks spun up. English is my second language. And I'm going to spin up 200 grams of this. And then I'm going to ply them, 2-ply them. And we'll see what I end up with. I'm actually hoping this will be enough for... maybe I'm not going to be ambitious enough to call it a sweater quantity. It's 400 grams of fiber. Spinning might not work like this, but 400 grams of fiber, 400 grams of yarn. This will end up being I have 5 bobbins anyway, and I'm hopefully I won't run out of... I have to ply one. I have to ply 2 bobbins of 2-ply, and then let it relax. Take it on the niddy-noddy, and then do it again, and repeat the process, because I only have 5 bobbins in total. So I'm so satisfied with me being able to make this. I actually find it's almost easier to do a really, really skinny single than a thicker one. And that's a good thing, because I prefer knitting with fingering weight. So I have 1 bobbin of merino singles, and I wanted to ply that with a different merino fiber that I haven't spun up yet. And I don't want to spin anything else in between this, because I want it to be consistent. So I'm starting up this fiber today when I finished editing this, and me and hubby have an appointment in the neighboring town today, so I won't be able to do anything with spinning or anything until this afternoon, and I'll just say in the evening. The way my sitting position now makes me able to, I can see the television. And these days we have started Vox Machina, Critical Role, for the 3rd time, I know. What can I tell you? We are critters, and we sort of exhausted YouTube. We don't watch a lot of television, normal television. We stream mostly. And and Critical Role, especially when you've seen the campaign twice before, it's perfect for spinning, knitting, doing other things, because you know basically what's happening. You don't have to watch the screen, because on the screen you can only see people playing a game, so there's nothing exciting happening on screen. it's like you could listen to a podcast and get the same experience. So that's the perfect thing about it. Of course, we're watching the campaign 3, Bell's Hells, but that's the one running now, so we have to wait a week in between episodes. So that's what we're watching these days, and that means I can spin as much as I want to. The only thing about the spinning, I realized I had to be, what's it called, ambidextrous. I have to be able to draft with both hands because I have osteoarthritis in my thumbs. My left hand is bothering me these days, so you can tell in the video I put up, I'm wearing a brace. And I'm wearing that brace when I'm spinning because this thumb is sore these days. So I realized if I want to spin consistently, maybe every day, I have to be able to use my right hand for drafting as well. Because what I've been doing, I've been forward drafting, short draft, with my left hand as the drafting hand. And now I've been training myself doing that with the right hand as well, so this thumb can rest. So that's what I've been doing, and I'm still better at it with the left hand, but it doesn't show on the finished result that I have been changing hands. So I think that's what I have to say about the spinning for this time. Maybe I'll be able to show you the finished 2-ply in 2 weeks. If I do a podcast in 2 weeks, I think I'm going to do a podcast in 2 weeks, and then I won't do another podcast until next year because I'm doing blogmas, and it's going to be, I'm going to talk about my knitting during blogmas as well. So I don't see a big point in doing a podcast as well as vlogmas. So I'll be doing one more podcast this year, probably in 2 weeks. If I don't have a lot to show you in 2 weeks, I might postpone it a week or something. But there will be one podcast in December. I also have to wrap Sue's Christmas presents and get that Christmas box on its way to Canada because I want to make sure she gets it before Christmas. And this weekend we have to start clearing out our wardrobe because next week, hopefully, can't speak today. Next week, end of next week, beginning of the week after, we're getting a new wardrobe, and they're building it in place. So we're having builders over to do it. So what our job is to clear out the wardrobe, pack everything away, remove the sliding doors in front of it because what we have now is 3 sliding doors and those shelving units with baskets in metal. That's what we're having now. And we have to remove everything, put it out into the carport, and then they arrive and build our new wardrobe. We're getting a wooden wardrobe in a really nice light wood. Not lightweight, but light colored. And I don't want doors in front of it. Both because it's really gorgeous to look at, and because it will make the bedroom seem bigger, because we have a really tiny bedroom. It's like you have to almost go sideways to get on the other side of the bed. It doesn't help that we have a lot of things stored in here around the bed because we live in a tiny apartment. And when my son moved in, we had to store his stuff somewhere as well, so we had to put more stuff into the bedroom. So it's kind of chaotic. So I'm dreading carrying everything into the living room. So we will be living out of bags and boxes for a few days. Worst case scenario, over a week, before we can reclaim our bedroom properly. So we're starting this process this weekend, and then next week we'll do the rest. When we know what date they're coming, we're doing the rest. I have to clean, of course, thoroughly inside before they come. Because when they build a wardrobe in place, I won't be able to clean behind it or on the walls or anything, because it will be... So I have to clean in there as well. And we're getting a skip in our driveway afterwards to get rid of all the shelving units and everything. And we're going to get rid of a lot of stuff when the skip is here. And we're getting a new car in January, so we have to make room in the driveway. As you can tell, we have lots of stuff happening. So that's one reason why Vlogmas might be. But the December 1st is, I can at least use half an hour in the mornings for recording and half an hour for editing in the evenings. So even though it's going to be chaotic, probably, I'll be able to record Vlogmas. Hopefully. I'm not sure why I talked that much about our new wardrobe, because it's probably not interesting for you. But it's the free stream of consciousness thing. If I'm thinking about it, it sort of comes out. Another thing about Vlogmas, the last Vlogmas episode will be posted on the 21st. I'm ending Vlogmas 3 days early, because we're picking up my youngest son late on the 21st. And as soon as he gets here, it's family time. We don't get to be together, all four of us, that often, so there won't be any recording, editing, anything like that. So I'm probably going to wish you a Merry Christmas on Instagram or something, of course. But so the 21st is going to be the last post from me on Vlogmas. But everything will be decorated, and the Christmas tree will be decorated, and everything, because my youngest son, I asked him, what would you like? Would you like everything to be ready when you get here for Christmas, or do you want to help me decorate the tree? And he said he would really want everything to be set up so that when he arrives, it's Christmas. And I told him that's okay, I'll do that. So everything is going to be ready for Christmas. So you get to see our apartment decorated for Christmas, or at least you get to see the tree. So that's that. This turned into being one of those hot messes. So I think I'm going to call this episode, as I've done before, a hot mess. Or maybe something about spinning, because I've done a lot of spinning lately. And I need my coffee because it's early in the morning still. It's not that early, it's 10:30 a.m. In Norway we use a 24-hour system, so when I say 10:30, we know that it's in the morning, because it's 22:30. That's 10:30 p.m. in Norway. Why couldn't you use that as well? So that's that. I then only have show and tell, and I only have one thing to show you. I have something coming in the mail, but as it hasn't arrived yet, I'll have to show you next time. But I've got this book, and this was a rather quick decision, because I realized that this book existed. And the official knitting guide to Halloween Town and Christmas Town. And because I am a knitter, obsessed with A Nightmare Before Christmas, this was a must-have. If I'm knitting anything from this book, time will tell, but I've picked out, I think, the first thing I'm knitting, if I'm knitting anything from this book, probably not during December, because I'm rather busy. Let's see if I can find them easily. I should have picked out this beforehand, of course. The best way of finding them is, let's see, I'm going to knit. This is really thrilling to watch, me looking for stuff. I want to knit these. And one more thing I want to knit, but I have the yarn for those mitts, because I'm not sure I'm going to do them in black and white. I have black and white as well, because that's 4-ply, semi-solid or solid 4-ply, and I have lots of commercial sock yarn in loads of different colors. But there's one more thing I want to knit, and I want to knit it in the colors that they used in the book, and it's these. These were so much fun. I really love them. And if I'm knitting these, I'm going to knit them in the original colors. I might knit them as long mitts, use the same pattern and knit it as long mitts. I'll see, but I want to knit that. And there's a scarf and a wrap in here that I really want, and I of course want to knit Jack Skellington, a toy. So that's what I've gotten in the mail since the last time that has anything to do with knitting. I've gotten other stuff in the mail, but nothing that has anything to do with knitting that I can think of. I'm trying to be good and then put everything I get in the mail that I want to show on the podcast in a certain place. But I don't always remember it. Again, I'm so professional. And the cat has decided, his name is Roar, by the way, and I see the door opening. I realized now that the door didn't look that pretty in the background, sorry. His name is Roar, and the fun thing about that is Roar is a Norwegian man's name, but in English it's Roar. So it's the perfect name for a cat, we felt. So he's asleep now in the ring light box, so I won't be able to pack that down immediately after I finish recording. But let me know in the comment section if you're interested in me talking about spinning, because I could easily talk more about spinning because I've fallen down that rabbit hole. I'm dyeing up fiber for spinning. I've ordered more undyed fiber from Andy of Wool Tops. I mentioned that the fiber from the advent calendar I'm getting from Ulveig was Polworth. I haven't tried spinning with Polworth, so I asked Andy, what's that fiber like? And he told me that it's soft like merino and has the staple length of Corriedale, so it's a wonderful all-rounder, and the staple length is important for me as a newbie spinner. So I decided to just go all out, and I ordered 1.5 kilos of Polworth for hand dyeing and spinning. And I might dye up to make the advent last as long as possible, because first I was thinking I will spin up 12 days on one bobbin and then spin up 12 days on the second bobbin and then ply this. And spin it thinly and then ply it until into 2-ply. And it's a total of, I seem to remember it was a total of about 250. I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen. I'll double check and put it on the screen how much fiber is in that advent calendar total, as a total. But I was also thinking, because I've ordered more Polworth from England, undyed, when I was planning on spinning day by day the advent. So I have to make a decision before I start spinning it. Do I spin 12 days on one bobbin and then 12 days on another bobbin and then ply that? Or do I spin everything in a continuous single and then dye up the same amount of purple on Polworth? On the Polworth I have ordered from England, so I get longer, because then it's easier to use, I think, because I get a longer I get twice the length yardage. Sorry, I have lots of stuff to think about these days, so I'm sort of having a brain fog. But then I get twice the yardage, and it's much easier to use it for something. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just keep on spinning one continuous thing. This is 200 grams. So that's what I probably, I don't think I can fit 250 grams, if that's what it is, on one bobbin. So I might have to split it up anyway. So I could just do 12 days on one bobbin, 12 days on another bobbin, and then decide if I want to dye up something. It's easy to just join the two bobbins while I'm plying if I decide to dye up something for it. But I know I have to order more bobbins at some point if I'm going to continue spinning larger quantities. So I'm going to finish babbling now and edit this and get ready for hubby to pick me up. So I'll talk to you December 1st when Vlogmas starts, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend and that you're looking forward to Advent starting. And again, I'll see you December 1st. Bye bye.